In this video, we'll cover seed selection and how to read the seed packets in planning your next amazing garden. Hello and welcome to another lifeonourhomestead.com gardening video. My name is John, and if this is your first time here and you want to learn how to grow a successful garden, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you don't miss anything. In previous videos, we have learned about our garden and what will grow. We've also decided on what vegetables our family will eat and the ones we want to plant. Now comes the fun part. If you have ever had those winter blues, send off for a free seed catalog and you'll never be lonely again. Before we get started, if you have a question about something we are covering, let me know in the comments below. I would love to help out, and it may be featured in an upcoming Q&A video. In this video, you will learn how to read seed packets and understand the cultivar you are selecting. We're going to go over seed selection in a bit, but before we get there, let's cover some terms that you will commonly see. When we talk about plant selection, we talk about the cultivar. The cultivar is the plant variety that has been produced from cultivation. For example, the tomato has hundreds of cultivars or varieties. The next common term you may have heard before is annuals and perennials. In areas of winter, annual plants are ones that will die off and you have to plant annually. Perennials are plants that will go dormant and then return in the spring or perennially. Most vegetables are annuals. You have to plant a new crop every year. But some vegetables, like asparagus or rhubarb, are perennial and will return each year. The next two terms are how the cultivar was created. Hybrid are cross-pollinated plants. This is done to subvert some common diseases and issues. This is not to be mistaken for GMO seeds. There are also heirloom seeds. These are open-pollinated seeds that have been formed through years of use. They are susceptible to common diseases and issues. Some prefer the taste and production of heirlooms, since they can save seeds from year to year. Hybrid seeds, you cannot save them. If you're just starting out, I recommend selecting hybrid seeds. The common issues that frustrate gardeners have been mostly eliminated, making your first growing experience more enjoyable. Once you have seen success in gardening, then I encourage you to try some heirloom plants. You will enjoy a taste that is amazing. Some plants and cultivars you will see the term determinate and indeterminate. Another term for determinate is bush, meaning the growth of the plant is generally known and determinate. On the other hand, indeterminate is commonly known as pole or vine. The plant will continue to grow and have an indeterminate length. Tomatoes and beans are common to this. When you see indeterminate, you should always plan on some sort of support structure for the plant to grow on. Determinate may or may not need support. So now that we have some common terms defined, let's look at some seed packets. Here we are on the Mountain Valley Seed Company website. Let's look at garden seeds and tomatoes. Right at the top is my favorite tomato, the Celebrity Hybrid. Let's look at this seed packet. The seed packet will have bits of information in the text you need to clue in on as a point of reference for that cultivar. As you can see, it is a hybrid tomato with days of maturity 95 to 120. So in areas like Utah, we will need to transplant from seeds we start indoors or buy from a nursery as starts. The packet gives us spacing recommendation and when to plant. In this case, it is after the danger of frost. Note the germination days of 14 to 18. If you start this seed indoors, it will take 14 to 18 days to see your first leaves, so be patient. We see sunny location, so we need to find a place in the garden with 6 or more hours of sunlight each day in the summer. We should plan on staking or caging the plant, even though it is classified as a determinate plant. Lastly, we harvest when the color is fully developed. So this seed packet is like most you will see with tomatoes. No real special growing requirements. Lastly, you will notice these codes. Let's look at these. For this plant, it is V, F1 and 2, N and T. These are disease-resistant terms. A good lookup table is on Johnny's Seed website. This lists common diseases in the garden. So for Celebrity Tomato, it is resistant to V or verticillium wilt, F1 and F2, fusarium wilt, N, roundworm, and T, or sometimes you'll see TMV, tobacco mosaic virus. Now this may seem a bit complex and overwhelming for the new gardener. Don't spend too much time using these disease-resistant codes in your selection right now. Store this information away, and if you experience disease issues in the coming years, then you can revisit and find cultivars that are more resistant to your known issue. I wanted to bring this up now since these codes are found on many of the packets and may be confusing to the new gardener. Now let's look at another seed packet and see what we can learn. Let's look at cucumbers. A common favorite in the garden is the Diva Hybrid. 60 to 65 days, meaning this can be sowed in the garden. If you do sow indoors, notice they mention to put in seed pots. That is because cucumbers and squash do not transplant well because of their roots. They get too disturbed or they get root bound. So the instructions are trying to guide you to a successful transplant. We see harvest being 6 to 8 inches long. Cucumbers is a plant that the bigger is not better. The taste turns terrible if it's overgrown. So pay attention to the clue to harvest 6 to 8 inches long. Also notice the clue that picking often spurs growth. This plant is invigorated by harvesting. The more you pick, the more you grow, which is awesome. Okay, let's look at one more seed packet to see what we can learn. Let's look at another easy crop to grow and a favorite for the kids, carrots. Now, as you can see here, there are many to choose from, and the best part is you have options on size and depth. If you do not have great growing conditions or your boxes are not deep, this is where a cultivar selection can help you meet your growing requirements. I have built up some boxes and have some depth, so I'm going to select the Tender Sweet. So right off the bat, we clue in on sunny location and soft, porous soil. So if your soil is compacted, you will need to turn it up and perhaps supplement it with peat moss or lava rock to keep from compacting. You can plant early in spring as soon as you can work the soil, and since the growing season is short and you get only one product from one seed, they recommend what is called succession planting. So every 2 weeks plant a new row and you will have continual harvest of carrots through the fall. Also note the harvest. Pick before they become overgrown and hardened. As you can see, we gain snippets of information by reading the seed packets. As you look at more seed packets, you can see how to select different cultivars for your growing condition and desired output of either consuming or preserving. I encourage you to try something new each year in a test part of your garden. And if you get frustrated with a certain vegetable, changing cultivars may help resolve the issues you have. If you want to learn more about how to grow a successful garden, start now by hitting the subscribe icon so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. Now go enjoy your garden, and I'll see you next time.